The role of interaction design is a slippery subject because it's always been with us. But to really think about the design of experiences as opposed to thinking about the utility of tools is a relatively new consideration.
Interaction design is about the craft. It's about making products and artifacts that are easy and joyful to use. And it also is about culture change. It's about values. And this is a thing that I think the best teams bring to their organizations, which is really helping all the team members, regardless of design skill, focus on putting humans, patients, customers, users first.
We are in a society where automation and algorithms are taking over lots of decision process. We as designers, we can bring the human point of view into complex systems. And designers, and specifically interaction designers, are in a position where they are enablers of connecting people to people.
Thankfully, companies have started to understand that products that are not usable, products that are just built but not with humans in mind, are having trouble having traction. And thankfully we have more and more examples now of products that are good and increase people's capacity to do things and increase the joy that they have in their lives, or at least their experience in general.
Since it's becoming easier and easier to produce products, someone in literally the garage guy writing software on his weekends in the basement can actually come up with an app that is almost the same quality or sometimes even higher than multinational companies would produce. So I think that the interaction designers will have to have a role of, let's say, maybe helping sift through what can be built versus what has to be built when it comes to, let's say, what actually people need.
Interaction design is becoming integral in leading design domains. Sometime back it was industrial design, which was leading the processes in terms of how the design needs to interact with industry. Now it's the interaction design which is leading how the human has to figure out into the design which is happening around the world.
The obvious thing to talk about is to talk about the interfaces kind of going away. So it being less about sitting in front of a desktop computer. There's probably going to be a wider diversity in the modes of interaction. But I think that as designers, still our biggest challenge is always around simplification. How can we actually make sure that we don't get carried away with the potential and the opportunities and the new, and make sure that we actually do really focus in on really solving the problem.
Some of the old challenges are still going to be there in the future, which is designers being brought too late in the game. It says, now that we've built this, can you make it look nice? We need to explain better what we do so that people bring us in the right phase of the project when we can actually make a significant contribution to a project.
I work in government. We work predominantly in writing content and making forms, and that's as old as government, I guess, really, isn't it? And I think still, just even with those basic things to do, by and large, we're still a really long way from being able to do that really basic thing well. There's so much rudimentary stuff that we as a profession get wrong all the time. And so, I guess my challenge is how can we increase the level of hygiene so that we can do the basic stuff really well for the full range of people who need to be able to use the things that we're designing. And then once we've done that, then let's kind of get interested in delighting beyond that.
Where we need to go as a profession is increasing our cultural competence, not only in the broader global sense of culture, because I think design is becoming much more global than it's been, but also our competence at working inside of the cultures that we're in an organization, trying to figure out how do we leverage the way the organization works and thinks and makes decisions so that we can fit seamlessly into that, as well as how do we shift those values in a conscious way. A lot of us don't necessarily bring the empathy to our coworkers and to that culture change that we bring to the users of our products. It's very easy to say, wow, this person is an obstacle, this person is frustrating me, they're a roadblock to getting things done. When in reality, they're a person who's worried about losing their autonomy or their creativity or their control. They're worried about losing the prestige of whatever their job is today, or they're just worried about, we haven't done it that way before, and that's kind of scary. And I think if we're able to bring that consciousness to our work, we'll be a lot more effective at helping our colleagues navigate the new world as well.
How can we design systems that last for a really long time instead of a short period of time? Things that work with our lives and become part of our everyday experience without removing our ability to be human, without just interrupting us and distracting us. A lot of people say that they're bad at technology, but I think that a lot of our technology is bad at humans.